Generic greetings and welcome to Masterplan Tycoon. Today's beverage is a quite interesting spiced green tea, peppermint and nettle infusion. A fairly decent combination there. Either way, welcome to Masterplan Tycoon. This is a chill, minimalistic city builder slash resource management game where everything is presented in this sort of planning style. So for example, in other games where you would gather water from a well, we'd have a nice sprite or a 3D model of a well with the bucket going down and open, getting all of the water and little splashes, and then villagers coming along and grabbing that and taking it wherever. Obviously this is not that. We have literally this planning style where it says well, which outputs water, and then this line represents the flow of goods. In this particular case, as we can see, water. This is then being delivered to the storage, which can receive anything and output anything. So that is what we have going for us here. Let's just go ahead and build the lumber camp and sawmill that the game is suggesting, and we'll get into it once this has been fully built. So this is not a sponsored video, but I was sent a key for it, and I thought I'd give it a go, and I have played it for about an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes. So first impressions only, but hopefully enough to get the game down and present it in a fair manner. I'm also recording this several days before the release of it. Obviously the game might be out now or soon, depending on when you're watching this. However, as of the time recording, not yet out, version 0.9.318. So it's not early access, but it's pretty much finished. So the odd tweak and change by the time you see it, but I think, like I say, a fair representation. But what I've done is, after expanding over to here, that's like a brick mission, we got one down here which is steel. I think I've got to about this location, so this is one big map, one big campaign, and I've reset it just because I think that's showing you the bare bones, which is sort of what these previews are about. So anyway, we have the lumber camp here, which we can click on for more details. So it is in a forest. Yes, this is said forest, and it will remove bits of that. Output is trees. Yes, and it takes a minute in order to do that. And the sawmill, we can see if I go and click the tree and drag the node to there, we've now got the flow of trees into the sawmill. So the sawmill can only accept trees, but it will output planks, which is going to go to there. However, bit of a issue here. This is outputting the trees. This is, it says in, it can take up to 6 trees, I believe, and it outputs 12. Sorry, it doesn't output 12, but that's the maximum it can sort of have in its pockets, like its internal storage, as far as I can tell. There's a way to try that, and I'll check it out in a moment. But this is producing this, but it produces it in 30 seconds. This output here is a minute. So we are going to place another lumber camp in here, and we're going to place it, say, there. That's fine. It's also recommending we build a quarry. So while we're doing that, we're going to go over to stone and place the quarry there, and some knocking over there. You get little little pop-ups like saying like knock or woof, bark, whatever, like basically what animals and things are around, and you can yeah, move around and get that little highlight there. Anyway, we have our lumber camp, and I'm just going to see if we can get that storage. This has got a question mark on the sawmill to indicate that it is still waiting for resources. Like, where are these trees? That's what I'm getting there. We'll connect the quarry to the storage, and again, you can click on the storage. You can see what you've been producing and what materials there are, and it's split into different tiers as well. We also want a fishery, so we'll place a fishery in there. Again, just following up what the game is asking us to do, and yeah, there we go. So, gathering wood, turning it into planks, that goes into storage. We're gathering stones, that's being sent to the storage, and we've got the fishery here, which naturally has to be placed, you know, adjacent to water, and then we'll connect that up as well. So there's 2 little spaces on the beach, and it says move the fishery, so you can click and drag and move things around. That actually I find is a lot of what you may be doing, trying to manage things, moving things around, getting them in the right place. That's a big part of it, because although you can have these links cross, there's certain things you can't do. So for example, you can't go through like its own building, so that there, you can see that is blocked, so you can't do that. I mean, that would be fine, but you couldn't say, and I can place it, say, there as well, but naturally it wouldn't produce anything because it's not next to that. So yeah, there's planning to take into account there. How are we doing up here? Lumber camp. Yep, we are storing a tree, so we just want to output that to the sawmill. That's actually one of the down things, I think, of the game. It's presenting us with the challenge and the objectives here, but it doesn't sort of, at this stage of what I've played, it hasn't yet to say, actually, you might want to look at the timings just to see how much you're making and outputting and that sort of thing. But just a minor quirk. So, before we can move on, let's get a small supply of fish and water. Our settlers love to eat, don't we all? And in order not to wait so long, you can try and increase the speed, which, yes, we can do so on the top right there. It is showing our storage on the left-hand side of planks and stones, but we can see more by clicking on that. It's got fish and water. No trees, because we're not needing to store trees. I think we just process that as standard. And there we go. So, do we want to make some more... Do you want to get some more fish? I think we can probably do that. Let me place a fishery there. You can see I can actually go through the forest, and it actually demolishes a bit of the forest. So, again, little things to find out there. But we're going to place another fishery, and I'm going to place it in... there. I don't think the range thing overlap. I don't think the overlap is of any great concern. But there we go. We've got that. And you know what? While I'm on, I am going to place another well. Just so we've got a very good supply of fish and water. And I'll come back to why I've done that in but a moment. So, we are just about to gather all the resources. Oh, we've actually gathered them now. So let's pause it. Nice beverage, hopefully enough to build a farm. And the farm, it's recommending we put up there. So again, right click, and now we have additional tiers. So we have tier 1. So that says farm, to a mill, then to a bakery. However, bakery also needs a well. So we're going to place the farm there. We are going to let it crack on and build. I'm going to guess the well I'll place sort of this corner here. So we get little pop-ups with a bark. Mill and the well. So we'll place the well there, and we'll place the mill in there. When we're going to build, it does show the cost on the top right. So planks and stones shows what it produces and what it needs, and also the maintenance, which is fish and water. So maintenance is covered by, and I think it does tell us in a moment, basically the storage in that area around there. So let's place the bakery in. And I think it's going to shout at us because we're outside of storage. Up. Connect that up, and again, very smart of the game to indicate the stage we can cross the beams. We're not penalised for that. Something seems to be wrong. Looks like the bakery's not getting the maintenance and can't work. Solves problem. We need to build another storage. So we need to go to tier 1, storage, and then storage there, which is again going to cover that bakery. Because the storage items are global. So this storage and this storage contain the same thing. Very important thing to remember. So, for example, we don't have to store all the fish in here and then drag the fish and move them over to there. We could do. We could connect that, but there's no reason to. Anyway, we want bread to go in there. We want stone to go in there, and again, crossing the streams. But mine stones are now being split equally. So half of the stones are going to go to that storage, and half the stones are going to go there. So it's okay. It's fine, but do we want to build some more? Disable the link between the quarry and the storage, so we'll do that. And yeah, it's all being sent to the brick mission now. Our main goal is getting resources to the brick mission, but we must not forget about the needs of the master to build another quarry and connect the storage. So what we'll do, this is the master world, it shows on the top there. We're going to go to tier 0, stone, quarry. Going to place the quarry in... I'm going to bring that down to there, that quarry. The quarry will go in there. And then that goes to there. Alright. So, we need to prepare some bread and stone so we don't have to start from scratch. We need more stone. Let's just double check our mill here. So the mill is... it takes 1 grain and turns it into 2 meals. Okay? And how long does it take to make this? A farm is a minute. It is a minute to do that. So again, we can probably make this a bit more efficient. I'm going to move the farm over to there. The farm is a bit different because it does have planting and gathering, and you can pause it. So you can see we've planted stuff around here. So we're going to make another farm. I don't know if it is good to do this. Like, I am going a bit off track, but it feels like we want to do it now rather than come back. So farms. Farm can go in... there should suffice. And then, I don't know about the bakery here. So the bakery is 45 seconds. That's every 30 seconds. It needs 2 meal and 1 water. And the water we produce every 15 seconds, so we're totally fine there. Basically, there's going to be a bottleneck on all of these things. We just have to accept that 100% efficiency is maybe something we can strive for. But the game is such that it's chill. We're not too bothered if we don't get everything. Oh, good grief! Look at the state of this. We've really chop back some of these trees. Bit of deforestation there. Anyway, let's go to the brick mission, and we sort of zoom into this one and go to the mission. And this is sort of inside another biome, essentially. And let's crack on with basically what it's asking us to do. So storage will go in there, and we have now incoming stone and bread, but that is from the master world. So this is coming from here, but then we've got the mission, which we are going to here. So stone can go to storage. Bread can go to storage. And now it's asking us to build a lumber camp and a sawmill. So even though we've done stuff like that previously, we can't do that. We can't do that externally and bring it in. It can only be stone and bread brought to this mission. So we have to produce the rest on site, as it were. So what we're going to do is have a lumber camp here. Connect that tree. That's going to go up a little bit. Another lumber camp, which can go in there. That's fine. Planks can go to storage. And that can go to there. So we are producing planks. Where are we at now? It wants us to make a sheep farm and a sewing workshop, because it's a little chilly here, apparently. So we now have access to clothes, sheep farm, and the sewing workshop. So we need to build those, but we need to get the resources first. So sheep farm, you can see it's again nice usability there. Sheep, and can't make the sewing workshop because we haven't got the planks. So that's all sort of dotted out, and then when we get the resources, it pops up. Anyway, sheep farm and sewing workshop. I don't know where these are going to go, but we've got loads of space up here, and yeah, sheep farm can go there. Sewing workshop can go there. We can move them around. It's not a big issue, and they are still within. Yep, they are still within the area effect for that one. So the wool is produced every minute. Sewing workshop, 45 seconds. But it requires fish in water. So again, we're going to have to produce those on site. You can't move the inner ship point out. You can't do that. So what we'll do is we're going to have fish. We're going to have 1 and 2 fisheries. And water, 1 and 2 wells. This is where we might come into some problems, because will that connect? Only just, but it does. So there's the fisheries and the wells, because these don't need an input of fish and water, but they do require the maintenance of it, so it has to be within that area effect. So we're making clothes. We're going to make another farm. No, sheep farm. Oh, if I place that there, it's going to mess us up a little bit. That should be fine where it is there. We've got all this space up here as well. Clothes. Oh, it can loop down, but only just. So we're storing clothes. So the game is about managing the inputs and outputs, the connections between the different buildings, making sure the routing is correct, because obviously things like that we will obviously cancel. And I was going to say, can I get that in the right location yet? Good grief, that's really chopping them trees down. But we can move them along. So, a couple more clothes and we'll be there. Let's go back here and see how we're getting on. Seems storage over there we haven't used. Or haven't got anything connected to, but we are maxed out on planks. We are not maxed out on fish. So I could potentially get more fish in this world while we're waiting. And I do think this is something that the game perhaps doesn't present exceptionally well at this stage. Like I say, this is a first impressions only. Later on, it might come back and tell us to reorganise our production line. And also, I'm hoping we can get somewhere to reforest, but I don't know if that is the case. There seems to be enough forest around here. Anyway, back over to the brick mission. Let's not get sidetracked too much. So, beer. It sounds intimidating, but we've heard miners refuse to work without beer. Is that a broad generalisation? If you're a miner, are you offended by that, or do you totally agree? Yeah, it's spelt the correct way of miners, because the other way would be problematic. So, we need a farm, and we need a brewery. So, let's get some farms, which requires a well, which requires be then connected to a brewery. So once again, we can put it wherever we need. I'm considering up here, but I don't think it would help. Although, again, global storage, there's no reason why we can't. So let's go ahead and we'll add in another storage, and I'm going to add it in, say, here. We're going to have in tier 1 for beer, a farm, but the brewery takes water, and that's 45 seconds. So ideally you want... I'll pause it. We want 2 storage. No, 2 farms. Let's just move this further back a bit to there. And to be fair, we can probably remove that and connect a bit close to that one. It's probably a bit better. So we'll have 1 and 2 farms. It's about right. We need a well, which will then go to a brewery. They should connect up. It should connect up. So water, grain, beer. There we go. That is fine. There we go. Right. And now producing beer. We are still getting more grain that we can use, because we're getting essentially 2 grain a minute, but we can only process the grain at 45 seconds. So I mean, yeah, we could probably have 3 farms and 2 breweries and split them evenly, and yeah, we'll not overly concern ourselves. Like I said, it is presented as a chill experience, and not, there's no failure state essentially. We can, if you're producing, if I have a lack of production, just wait a little bit. You'll be fine. Everything will be fine. So storage, that's fine there. We need to build a brick factory. So clay pit. Every 1 minute 15 it produces clay, and a brick factory is it requires 2 clay. Interesting. So I'm going to preemptively build another clay pit. Let's put that there, and a brick factory can go in about there. That should be able to curve around, but we can move them around if need be. So we're on max speed. There is also, clay. Ooh, just fits. Doesn't fit. But that we can move back a bit. Now it sits. So that's fine. And we move bricks to out. So, connect the brick mission to the storage in the bricks master. So we're going to go back to master, bricks, storage. There you go. Alright, we now have bricks, but there's no beer and clothes in master. We can't deliver them to the brick mission, so you have to build them here. Okay, so we need to build them here. Let's produce some clothing. So, again, tier 1. And clothing. Sheep farms. And we're going to build... Well, do I just build over here out of the way? Is there any reason to do that? Or do I want to build them around this area? I don't really know. Let's have... I mean, it would be best to utilise maybe this area. That'll require another storage. Not that is a big problem. Place a storage here. And it was clothes and beer. So clothes, 2 sheep farms, 1 there, and 1 there. Sewing workshop will go there. Interesting layout and and whatnot. So, I'm actually going to move the storage back. Clothes, wool, job done. Beer. So farm, 2 farms and a well. So let's try something a bit different. You know what? Let's not go all the way back there. Let's just move it here. So it's 2 farms, 1, 2, and a well to go to the brewery. So don't think that's going to connect up, but we'll try. Grain to there. Yeah, that's not going to work at all. We can move that to there. And the brewery to there. only just doesn't connect. Water does. Grain still doesn't. This is why you have to build them more vertically than we've done here. So I don't know what the answer is other than do it properly next time. I guess we could move the farm to here. And then just do that. Yeah, that works. That works fine. Alright, and now we are producing some beverages. But I think that's fairly representative of the game. It's about gathering resources and optimizing the routes and obviously the planning as well. You've got these missions where you have to obviously go to them and work out what they require, and then you're going from there. Obviously, it's presenting us now with pig farms, which then you get butchery, and then after that it's overalls, I think it is, to then do the steel mission, and it just, you know, it goes on. And this is the game. There's limestone mines. There's a port over there. It comes over to copper, and you know, it's a big world. But first impressions are very positive indeed. I love the presentation. I think it's presented exceptionally well. It has a lovely style that I do appreciate, just the minimalistic style. The fact that it's chill, it is a very chill game. You know, there's enough to entertain me in terms of the management side of it, working out where things go, you know, trying to make sure these are optimized and working on the ratios. But if that's not your thing, don't worry about it. The game holds your hand, perhaps a little bit too much for some people's desires. But yeah, it's fine. It is, let's say, a chill one. A couple of points, I would say, and this may just be due to the version, but yeah, as I said, it doesn't, and I've mentioned before, at this stage, from what I've played, mention about things like the ratios and stuff, and also, and I think this is most likely an issue on my front, is that I thought this was going to be like very mission based, but no, it's just, as far as I can tell, it's just one world, and you just continue on and you're following up what it's saying here. It may obviously give you more freedom of movement later on, but this is first impressions only. And one big downside, you can save, you can load, but you can't have multiple saves. Bit of a negative tick there. You have to reset progress. So multiple saves would be very much desired. It's running at 23.971 frames. How curious. I don't know why. Either way, that has been a bit of Masterplan Tycoon. Minimalistic resource management city builder that, from the about an hour and a half-ish that I've played, is a fairly decent, honest title. And if you like what you see, by all means, feel free to check the link out in the description. This is not a sponsored video, but I was sent a code in order to try this. Like I say, I think this is fairly representative of the product, at least at this stage and from what we've played. But if you like what you see, by all means, check the link out in the description. If you want to see more, by all means, let me know. Comments in the comments. Thanks very much for watching. Take care of yourself, and generic partings.